Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the LyondellBasell Virtual Job Fair event. I would like to introduce you to Jerry with workNet Batavia. Jerry, are you available to give a few introductory remarks?
Yeah, and I don't know if you have the slides, but maybe you can advance them. But yeah, I want to make sure that there's enough time for our speaker, but just a real quick introduction about WorkNet Batavia. We serve Kane, Kendall, and DeKalb counties, but don't worry if you live in a different county, because there's probably a WorkNet center near you. The main thing I wanted just to say today is that if you are looking for work or need additional training or anything, please feel free to reach out to us, because we are here to assist you. We are designed to be a one-stop center so that we can assist you with job search, training, and if you need any other supports from the community, like if you need food, childcare, transportation, we're able to refer you to sources for that as well. So visit us at www.worknetbatavia.com. And I will be available after this meeting if you want to talk anymore. But with that, I want to, I think you can advance again, Daniel, introduce Stephanie Underhill, who is here from LyondellBasell, and she has some great information about the company and the opportunities that they're currently hiring for. So thank you so much for spending some time with us. But Stephanie, take it away.
Thank you, Jerry. So my name is Stephanie Underhill, and I'm with LyondellBasell. And we currently are hiring in both the Carpentersville and West Chicago locations. And I wanted to thank you all for attending this job fair today. The first thing I'd like to do is show you an actual video in the words of our employees of what a day in the life of Team LYB looks like.
Top priority here is safety.
The Goal Zero culture is exactly that. Zero safety incidents. Safety is important to me because in order to do the job effectively, the first time it is to be done safely.
I'm most proud of working here at LyondellBasell. You know, the safety, people care about you here at this job. That means a lot to me. Going home every day the same way I came.
A typical day for me looks like I control material flow into whether it be boxes or rail car.
As a utility tech, I back up the supervisor, help out with paperwork, help out the leads or anybody who needs assistance.
Teamwork means to me cooperation between individuals at the company, everybody working together to reach a common goal.
I think strong leadership is important because you want to set example for others. People will follow a strong leader.
Excellence means to me to be the best at what we do.
It's owning what you do, taking pride in your job, just being responsible. That's what that means to me.
Thank you, Daniel. So one of the things in the video talks about safety. Why would you want to work at LyondellBasell? Well, we are a safety-focused organization, and this year we have made it our 5th consecutive year as one of the world's most admired companies on the Fortune magazine's list. Another reason is that you have the opportunity to grow personally and professionally. and working with others to develop innovative solutions. Next. Some of the benefits that you receive for working at LYB, and these benefits start on your first day of employment. They include your choice of 2 different medical plans, either a preferred provider or a consumer-driven medical plan. Both of those include prescription drug coverage, dental and vision, and we also have an employee assistance program. We have both a retirement pension plan and a 401k plan with company matching dollar for dollar up to 6%. We have flexible spending accounts, life, accidental death and dismemberment and long-term disability insurance, an employee stock purchase plan. We have paid holidays and 96 hours of paid vacation. And then after you're on the job for about 12 months, you'll be eligible to receive educational assistance. Currently, we have a $1,500 sign-on bonus. $500 is paid on your first paycheck. The remaining $1,000 is paid after 6 months of employment. That's for all people who apply before April 1st. We do have progressive pay increases and on-the-job training, and then we do annual wage increases. And the progressive pay increases are based on completion of your training goals. And I can talk to you individually a little more about that. We have 2 sites that we're recruiting for, and their pay rates are a little different. For Carpentersville, the starting pay is $18.54 per hour. After you complete your first set of training goals, usually between the 3rd and 5th month, your pay would go to $19.47 an hour. After you complete your remaining training goals between the 9th and 15th month, your pay would go to $21.03 an hour. There is a 75-cent per hour shift differential for working the evening shift. And we're currently working 12-hour shifts at that location for 4 straight days. The shift that we need right now is 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. All applicants must have either a high school diploma or a GED. For our lab technician, the starting pay is the same and the pay progressions are the same. You would also receive a 75-cent per hour shift differential for working the 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, which is what we need at this time. We are looking for someone with QC, quality control, or lab experience. Now, West Chicago currently operates only on first shift, which is 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The shift differential, I can get that for you, I'm sorry. We do also have progressive pay increases for that position with an annual wage increase. And again, you would need to have a high school diploma or a GED to apply. Here's our QR code if you'd like to go ahead and apply. And that would be for Carpentersville. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much for that presentation, Stephanie. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that QR code up on the screen just a little bit longer to give folks a chance to be able to actually, utilize that. As Stephanie stated, if there are any questions that you do have, feel free to throw those into the chat or unmute yourself and ask. In the meantime, Stephanie, I do have just a few kind of simple, straightforward questions that I'd like to go ahead and ask you.
Okay.
about your company, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So Stephanie, how long does the hiring process typically take from the point of submitting an application to actually being extended that formal offer for hire?
Well, the formal offer for hire, we send that immediately, and then we go into our next stages of the hiring process. Usually from start to finish, it can take about 3 weeks. The next stage of the hiring process is actually where we will do pre-employment screening, and that involves verifying employment, a criminal background check, a urine drug screening, and a physical.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. And Stephanie, I think you did just allude to a background check. Question that I actually get on quite a few of these events is regarding background checks. Would you consider your company to be a second chance employer, allow folks maybe with minor misdemeanors or infractions or anything like that to have an opportunity at your company?
Well, we do base our hiring decisions on skill set, experience, and work history. There is a time to disclose any prior convictions that would be during our background check. And if we do proceed to that point, the decisions regarding background checks are handled by our legal department on a case-by-case basis.
Completely understand. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. And Stephanie, another question I want to go ahead and ask you is, are there any, opportunities for advancement within the organization? And if so, are there any particular success stories maybe that you'd like to highlight or share with folks who are tuning in or will be tuning in?
Absolutely. Our site manager, Henry Adante of the Carpentersville location, in 1994, he started as a third shift lab technician, and he is now the site manager. And then he's the site manager of actually 2 sites. Then Hashim, who is one of our supervisors, our production supervisors, he started in 2004 as a material handler. So those are 2 success stories of people who started in entry-level positions and have advanced within the company. We do prefer to promote from within.
Wonderful information. Thank you for that, Stephanie. Stephanie, another question I do have for you as well is, how can a candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming they are qualified for the position in which they're applying? Is there any sort of maybe tips, tricks, pointers that you'd like to share with folks tuning in? Maybe something they should include on a resume or mention maybe during a pre-screen telephone call for an interview, anything like that?
Well, before I do a pre-screen, I look at a resume and I look for stable work experience or an explanation as to why maybe there are several jobs in a short time frame. I will do a pre-screen, and anyone who talks to me about long-term career goals with the company or just in general, and about their contributions to safety, those are most important to me in order to advance that person to an on-site interview with the hiring manager.
So thank you so much for that, Stephanie. And Stephanie, another question that I do have for you is, how often are new jobs posted? So let's say folks are tuning in right now. Maybe they don't know a whole lot about the company, but they want to do their due diligence, get a little bit more information before they decide to move forward with submitting an application. How often would you say new jobs are posted typically?
Well, that's a tough question. I've only been with the company for about 6 months, and I do see maybe about once, at least once every 2 months, opportunities for other than production operators. That would be maintenance technicians, lab technicians, and those positions come open due to retirement, internal promotions. So it's very difficult to give you an idea of how often, but since I've been here, it's been at least once every 2 months.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. I do want to take a brief pause here and just remind folks who are tuning in, if you do have any questions for Stephanie, please feel free to throw those into the chat or unmute yourself and ask, and we'd be more than happy to, of course, provide you with a response. In the meantime, Stephanie, I think we'll go ahead and continue with at least my line of questioning.
Okay,
Just have a few more questions that I'd like to ask you, if that's okay.
absolutely.
Excellent. So another obvious question, and it's one that we get quite frequently on our events too, is how can applicants go about getting their questions answered? Is there a best way to get a hold of you, or maybe a general info at email folks should send questions to, or what would be the process?
The candidates that have questions can call or text me. My phone number is should be on one of the slides. It is 812-449-6842. And then my email is stephanie.underhill@LyondellBasell.com. So again, you can call, text, or email me.
Excellent. Understood. Thank you for that, Stephanie. Stephanie, and another question that I do have for you is kind of what's the work atmosphere like? What's a typical day look like, or a day in the life, so to speak, maybe of some of these positions? Not sure if you could elaborate on that just to give folks an idea.
Yes. So the production operator positions would involve data entry. They would be bagging material, feeding material into the mixer, maybe disassembling and assembling equipment, such as galas, belt feeders, that sort of thing. Always with a focus on safety and goal zero, which from the video, goal zero is 0 safety incidents. So those are just some of the typical functions of the job and what someone could be expected to do during their time on shift. The lab technician is going to be having the same as far as data entry tasks. And then they'll be taking samples and reviewing those samples and comparing them in accordance to the standard operating procedure.
Understood. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. And Stephanie, I do have, excuse me, one final question that I'd kind of like to ask you, if that's okay as well. As you well know, obviously, COVID and the pandemic has kind of fundamentally altered the way workplaces, currently operating. Not sure if you might be able to elaborate on what maybe some of those procedures or things are that you might have in place at your organization should, let's say, COVID unfortunately take a significant upswing. Or safety precautions or anything like that that you all have in place?
We do wear masks and respirators. If COVID takes another upswing, we would incorporate wearing the masks again and social distancing. We have not required the vaccination, so that not sure if that's a plus or a minus for those out there. A lot of people have strong feelings about those.
Understood. Thank you so much for that, Stephanie. And that was actually going to be the next question that I was going to ask you. So thank you for answering that. Again, I just want to give another opportunity for folks on the line to ask any questions that they do have for Stephanie regarding the positions that she covered here today. If you do, preferred method would be for you to enter your question into the chat. And of course, I'll relay that to Stephanie. But if you're on the line, you're able to unmute yourself and you'd like to ask her directly as well, feel free to do so. Like I said, you have a prime opportunity right here to speak directly with an employer rep and get your questions answered. So I will pause briefly for a moment here. If you do have questions for Stephanie, feel free to ask. Any questions for Stephanie? We're going once, going twice. Okay.
Actually, Stephanie, I'm sorry, I do have one question regarding, I saw one of the slides that said, made a reference to on-the-job training. Can you kind of describe some of the training that's involved for these positions and what that would look like as far as the on-the-job components of it?
Yes, Mary, that's a very good question. So sometimes people ask also if they're paid for training, and yes, you are paid the same hourly wage for the training period. And what starts out for training is that you would shadow another senior employee for about 2 weeks, watching them, learning from them what the steps are involved to run the mixer or to bag the material. And then after the 2 weeks, that person, you or another senior employee, would be sort of like your buddy, and you would have them for 3 to maybe 6 months, depending on how quickly you accomplish your first set of training goals. So that buddy serves as someone you can ask questions or just ask them, hey, I'm not sure about this, can you check this out? Just someone that you can make reference to if you need anything.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. That's helpful.
You're welcome, Mary. Thank you for the question.
Again, if you do have any other questions for Stephanie, feel free to ask. And Stephanie, while we are waiting for any additional questions to come in, I do want to allow you to also have an opportunity to make maybe just a short kind of summary statement, if you will, kind of maybe highlighting, excuse me, anything from your presentation that you'd like folks to maybe take as a overall takeaway from your presentation. Any concluding statements, anything that you'd like to make, feel free to do so now.
Thank you. So one of the things that I'm most impressed with the company is their benefit package. The fact that they offer both a retirement pension plan and a 401k plan. I'm really impressed with that because that's not common for a lot of employers to do that in this day and age. I'm equally impressed that they have an employee stock purchase plan and that benefits start on your first day of employment. No 30, 60, or 90-day waiting period. You'll have that important medical coverage that you need starting on day one. Something else that I'd like for everybody to take away is that one of the most important things that we look for and hope that a new candidate would bring to the position is for them to be somewhat independent. Now, that's after your training period, of course. We don't expect you to come in and just know the job right off the bat. We do look for someone to have a good attitude, an open mind, and a willingness to learn. And an orientation to a safety-driven culture is very, very important. Looking out for your coworkers, calling them out, reminding them if they don't have their personal protective equipment on, things of that nature. We are a very safety-driven culture, and that's important for anybody new coming into the role.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that information, Stephanie. And again, I want to give one final opportunity for any folks that have any questions for Stephanie before we kind of begin our wrap up here for the event today. And again, if you do have any questions, feel free to either throw those into the chat or unmute yourself and ask Stephanie directly. And one final call for those questions. Excellent. Well, definitely want to go ahead and give the folks maybe at WorkNet Batavia one final opportunity to maybe make any sort of remarks you'd like to make, maybe share some of the services or other things that you all have as far as resources are concerned that are available maybe to job seekers who are tuning in. So if you folks have any statements, feel free to go ahead and make those now.
Yeah, no, just another reminder that we are available at www.worknetbatavia.com. We serve Kane, Kendall, and DeKalb counties, and we're happy to help you with any of your job search or training needs. And a big thank you from our side to Stephanie for putting this together and spending time with us to talk about it. Hopefully, we can get some folks into the positions that you're hiring for. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. I want to also thank Janine. She has been a big help to me. And I really, really appreciate her partnership in getting this going. I do have one final thing to say. On this slide, it's showing how you can schedule a phone interview with me. If you just send me an email, I'll send you that link and you can look at my calendar and schedule a time that's convenient for you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate your kind words. Pleasure working with you.
It was a pleasure working with you too.
Excellent. Well, with that, I want to go ahead and just let folks know what the next steps will look like. Again, as I stated, I believe at the beginning, this session has been recorded. So I will be uploading this to the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel within 48 hours of conclusion of this event. So if it's not there by the end of day today, it will be up at that location by Monday at the latest. The next thing too that I do want to go ahead and mention is that through the registration page, we did capture all of the contact information and some demographical information from folks who did register for this event. So I will be forwarding that information on to both Stephanie and to both the folks at WorkNet Batavia as well to conduct additional follow-up. And of course, if you have any questions for Stephanie, you can see her contact information there, both phone number and email alike up on screen. So I'm sure she would not mind if you reached out to her and contacted her with any questions that you have. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and close out the session. Again, huge thank you to Stephanie. Obviously, huge thank you to the folks at WorkNet Batavia. And then last but not least, the job seekers that are on the call or will be tuning in at a later date. Thank you, folks. Hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend.
You as well. Thank you
You
so
too.
much.
Thank you. You too.